we don't do this challenge, will we get replaced? Or if we embrace AI, is this to replace people? And when your team does see you do that, it's easy to become a leader. They almost, you organically become a leader.
One thing that is certain in terms of the most recent cannonball with AI is that we cannot unring that bell. That it is not going away.
Yes.
And we have to continue forward. So the percentage of people who believe that AI offers more benefits than drawbacks, the United States is 39% think that it's going to be more beneficial.
A good trailer is what really pulls people in. And oftentimes, think about like how many times have you watched a movie because of the trailer, and then you're like, that movie was the trailer, like that. It was.
Unfortunately, it happens more often than you would
trailer
like to,
movies. I think that's what I call them, and that's not a good thing.
That is true,
because it's just crazy. Yeah, a good tease. So how's it going, Mr. Ryan?
It's there seems to be there's just a lot happening. 2026 is no rest.
Got it.
But I can't really share a lot of all that either. So it's Cliffhanger Thursday. Yeah, we're doing so much prep work for all the things that are going to happen throughout the course of the year. But it is, gosh, there's a lot that goes into doing the fine things that we do for the entrepreneurial and innovation community across the 757.
There you go. And one of those fine individuals, someone that I met probably before you, Tim,
I think so.
Is Pratik, the CEO of TechArk, spelled like tech, and Noah's Ark. Put them together, TechArk.
Yeah.
And I met Pratik maybe at a meetup, a Start Norfolk, a something. And you were doing, I think you hadn't gone super crazy into TechArk yet, but you were building mobile apps for people. Wasn't there like a dress put clothes on people thing?
Yeah, that was my wife's idea.
Okay. And maybe that was one of the first things that you were doing.
Great.
People were like, this Pratik guy, he's the guy. And 15, it's ridiculous when you start figuring out how long you've been doing this. 15, 16 years.
When did you start TechArk? 2012?
TechArk officially in the US 2012. There is a background to this where we started this business in India. So I was on an H-1B visa. I could not start a business here at the time. I could only work for one employer. And so we started this business in India in, I think, the 2008 timeframe. But 2012 is the official US start. So we'll be 14 years next week.
I swear I saw something recently that said you're 14. Yeah, like maybe something on the internet.
Yeah, I think it just went out yesterday or something that this month is the 14th year for us. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It has been a wonderful ride and full of, entrepreneurial roller coasters as well. But it's been fun. It's been fun building what we've built so far. Happy to talk about it later.
Where are you at in terms of headcount now, 14 years later?
We are, we've done well, grown well, 120 plus people, so between 120 and 130 people now.
Wow.
And this is spread out between US and our team in India. So we've always all operated at a global scale. There is a necessity that drove this in the beginning on how we set up an India team to begin with. And it's become one of the biggest blessings we have over the years as well. And so a big portion of our team is in India, and there's a substantial team now in the US as well, all operating under the one brand, TechArk.
Wow. A 12 and a half hour time difference?
So about 10 and a half hours.
10 and a half.
Daylight savings, it'll be 9.5 or 10.5, depending on that. So right now, like 11:05, it's around 10:35 p.m. So
I never really understood how the half got in there, but from your standpoint, you can almost have 24-hour operations, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, so that's exactly one of the big strengths we have built is that 24-hour system. And so we finish up in the US around, let's say, 6 p.m. and our teams in India will sign in around like 10:30 at night. Again, the daylight saving times will change that, but around 10:30 at night, they're operating sometimes even earlier. So hundreds of these clients we take care of. We provide 24/7 support to them, and they love it. They are truly delighted with that because they can send in a request even at 10 p.m. at night, and by most mornings by 6 a.m. when they wake up, it's done. So it just again taken. There's a strong culture and that communication rhythm. It's taken some several years to get that built up, but it is a beautiful thing now. It has been for some time.
I was literally talking to someone today about this, where there's a huge communication barrier for people who want to build some sort of technology, and they have an idea, and then they decide that they have some cash to be able to get this idea developed. Now, in the United States, that can run them a lot of coin, but they try to go overseas, and the biggest barrier there is they don't know what to say.
Correct.
And then you guys come in, and you're the best of both worlds, where it's an opportunity for someone to be able to, at least back in the day, and I don't know if people are still building technologies like that, but it's an opportunity for that miscommunication to go away. Like, can you just walk through why that communication barrier is so tough for people in the States, and how you guys fix that?
Yeah, and see, that barrier would apply really between, it's not just the States, right? It would apply between different countries. And naturally, it comes down to a lot of cultural differences as well. For example, a deadline may not be a deadline for a deadline may not be as strict of a deadline for in some cultures. Or if someone says yes, it may not mean that they're agreeing or committing to it. They may simply be saying that they understood. And these are things that I believe that when we built out TechArk and we built this business, I grew up in India. 22 years I spent in India. And before I moved to the US to pursue my master's here in computer science. So that background was very helpful. Growing up in India, knowing the culture, the English is obviously a big asset. A lot of people in India speak English. But going back to your question, a lot of with TechArk, we've always positioned it as a global company. We are not just set up as an offshore company, right? So when you talk to let's say a US company wants to build something, and they go try and directly try and hire somebody in India, or they try to work with somebody in India, the biggest thing is the communication gap is real. What they're explaining, what is being understood, the deadlines, and the quality is a big aspect of it too. We have had so many instances where companies that have gone that route, and one of the bigger reasons they did that was to save money. They went that route, they ended up spending more money, the product was unfinished, and a lot of other hassles came in the mix. And we end up taking that, and we have a system we have set up where we have a US team communicating with the client, understanding the needs. They're aligned on that cultural aspect, the value aspect. And then we have built the entire rhythm internally within our company. So that's where our culture and the communication, the values drive that, to where we have gotten away from those quality barriers, the communication gaps, the deadlines are not missed. We deliver to the promises we keep, and that is how you delight a customer. And so that is where, Zach, it is truly the best of those both worlds, where it is not super expensive with just US only. Those companies, there's a lot of other overheads they have to deal with. We've set up this model where it blends that together. And again, it's been a lot of hard work to iron out the kinks, but once you get that right, it is a beautiful thing.
How did you pick Norfolk in terms of when you wanted to come here to pursue the US? How did Norfolk come about?
Okay, yeah, so great question. So in India when I was applying for colleges to pursue my master's. So I did my bachelor's in computer science in India. I wanted to pursue my master's. I sent out the application to many of the universities, and the admission, the first college that gave me the admission was Texas Tech University. So that's the university that sent me the admission letter. And so I went to the U.S. embassy, and I got the visa. And I realized that after that, I realized that the university that gives you that visa, you have to go to that university for the first semester. So that's where I ended up. I ended up in Lubbock, Texas, out of all the places. Um, the other university that had given me the accept, and there were several of them that accepted me. Auburn University. Auburn is the only one that I got rejected from. So I just want to share that live with everybody as well. Anybody from Auburn, at some point, I want to show them that maybe they missed out on a. They should have accepted me. I still hold that against them. But my younger brother was at Old Dominion University. He had come here for his undergrad. He was doing his bachelor's in computer science here, and so that's the only family I had here, Tim and Zach. Like, I didn't know anybody else in the US, no other family. He was pursuing his undergrad here. He had come here in the year 2000. I was coming here in the year 2003. So I ended up going to Lubbock, Texas, and I was very homesick. I very much into, like, few months into it, I was like, I'm going to take a transfer. And so I took a transfer from Lubbock. The good thing is I took 3 of the hardest courses. I didn't realize that they were so hard at the ODU. I took 3 of those hardest courses, not knowing about it. Finished those at Texas Tech. So that's the silver lining. No one gets an A here at ODU for those courses. I walked in with 3 A's with those courses from Texas Tech, and then moved here across from ODU. My brother used to live there, and we basically shared an apartment with a few other students, and that's what brought me to the Hampton Roads area, and Norfolk in particular, pursued my master's here at ODU since then.
Auburn.
Auburn, I'm telling you.
What a regret, Auburn. I mean, war no eagle. Like, terrible. Like, trash. Their loss is our win, as they say.
That's right.
There's always something, right? So that is one university I would be like, man, I'm telling you, I think I applied to like 12 of them, and I got 11 admission letters. Auburn is the one that rejected me.
So you love to see them lose, and so do I. I'm here for it, dude.
I haven't hold those grudges. I still question, why they. I honestly don't hold grudges to that. I'm sure there is a reason, but I would love to know that reason. There probably is something still I could work on, right? That I should have been. So that's one thing to remember.
We'll send this to Charles Barkley and let him know that his alma mater made a bad move.
Zach, did you ever go to India Fest in Virginia Beach? Do they typically have it at the Virginia Beach Convention Center?
Yeah, India Fest.
I was amazed.
Yeah,
it was such a well-attended event.
Yeah.
Any idea in terms of what the Indian population is in Hampton Roads? It was huge. I had no idea.
Were there 10,000 people there?
There are, yeah. So they get anywhere from 9,000 to 10,000 people, and they do these. So there's Taste of India, which happens in April. So there's one coming up on April 18th. If you haven't been to those, you should absolutely come. And then the India Fest happens around September, October timeframe. That they change the months each year, but both of those events, they are the attendance is phenomenal. It's a one-day event from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and it's like 10,000 people. So very well attended. And it's not just the Indian community that shows up. The beautiful thing is, a lot of it's inclusive. Anyone can come, and there's lately I've seen a lot more non-Indians that would come to these events. We actually volunteer and so TechArk does the marketing for the Taste of India. We support a lot of their marketing effort to drive the attendance there. And then we also support the India Fest with their various digital, graphical assets. So I've tried to, give back to those both of these events. So they're really. I'm glad you brought it up, and please put it on your calendars for April 18th. Love to see you there.
Yeah, Nancy Gurdon and I had an opportunity to do a couple quick talks at India Fest, and you're absolutely right in terms of everyone's invited. There's so many different walks of life, but just it was really cool. I had no idea, so I was super glad to get the invite.
I always wanted to go to India, not necessarily India Fest, but
the craziest thing about India is like a small town is like 3 million people.
Or more.
Oh wow.
So it is
You been,
obviously.
Tim?
I went to India for my international residency when I was at William & Marriott Business School.
I did not know that. So
How
what
long?
parts of India?
We were there for 2 weeks. We landed in Delhi, and then we went to Bangalore, and gosh, I'm blanking out on the other.
If you went to bigger cities, maybe Hyderabad. I don't
know.
Bangalore is big in the IT world.
Yeah, that's like the Silicon Valley of India, if I remember correctly. That was really, and we had the opportunity to go through a couple different businesses there and talk to them, and that was really, really eye opening. But it was a Rockstar 2-week period. Did experience it all. I'm sorry?
How long ago was this? When was it?
2011.
Okay. Yeah. So it's I did not know that. And Zach, and anytime you're ready to go, it's just I'm a one phone call away. Let me help you with the planning. It's a beautiful country, really good people. Obviously, Zach has been there. He can tell you more about it. But there are the do's and the don'ts that we can certainly guide you with. And it's a big country. It's the 7th largest in the world. And it is number 1 in terms of population. So Zach, Tim did mention like crowded, but big. It's the 7th largest in the world. So it is quite a different landscape from when you go to north to south to east to west. I pretty much stayed in the western part of India. That's where I grew up. So happy to help you plan that when you're ready.
All right. Got to add it to the list. Talk to Pratik.
It is a long flight.
It's okay. Don't scare him, man. Like it's okay. It's you just one flight, but the flights, it's okay. Like even if you go from here to Hawaii, there is a certain amount of hours. I mean,
Sure.
Yes, it is a long flight, but and there's a jet lag once you get there, but it's okay. Like you would feel that if you went to any other country on the other side of the world, right? So but once you get there, like the culture and like again, you do some of the things from off the beaten path. Like we have had some friends that have come when we've had different weddings or different events, and they've really enjoyed it. So I like to go back. I try to go back once every year. Sometimes it becomes once every 2 years, but still my parents are there and I still try to visit them. And a big part of our team is there too. So they don't need me there to run the business, but I do try to go back once a year, share strategy and share where we are going and get alignment on all of that in person.
I don't like long flights, but actually I don't like flying, period. So
okay, then that's a problem.
I mean, I'll get on a plane. It's not a problem, but like, yeah. So you've been doing this thing 14 years here, another 4 or so, 18 years. Like, how do you become a better leader? How do you become a better communicator yourself? What do you do to help kind of get your team going and produce the best product possible for others?
Yeah, so I think to become a better leader from the biggest, I think the specific thing you mentioned, like listening first, right? Listening intently, especially if you're trying to get buy-in from a bigger group. In our case, we have 120 plus people now, spread out across different time zones. We have, even in the US, we now operate remotely. So we have an office in Norfolk, but our teams are fully distributed. They're working remote from 12 different states in the country. And what I have learned, I've learned a lot of different things. I think this question can probably run the entire hour. But one thing I've learned I think that plays a very important role is listening intently, listening to the different facets, because you have one view, there may be other views. And even as we've rolled out we've innovated aggressively and constantly at TechArk all these years. So how do you drive that and keep getting buy-in every step of the way? I think listening and then actually applying the execution to it, right? Not just talking about it, but actually doing it. And when your team does see you do that, it's easy to become a leader. They almost, you organically become a leader. You don't have to force it. You don't have to try to be one. You just become that, and it's a constantly learning thing as well. You don't stop. You just keep learning. And I think that has been a big thing for me. I've reflected upon it a lot, that in these 14, 18 years of doing this, the business has actually helped me become a better person as in general. Like, just how I have thought about things, how I approach different people with different needs, and how I talk to them. Uh, it has to be so. The business has kind of forced me to become that, and I think those leadership skills have developed over time.
The third city that we went to was Mumbai. I don't know why I was drawing a blank on that, but
Yeah, I didn't realize you would have go from south all the way to the west. So
yeah, it was. We flew in. It was quite the trip, and yeah, so that was a neat opportunity to fly within India. Yeah, it was fun.
So which city do you have is there one to pick that for a particular reason that stood out?
Well, I thought Mumbai was really neat because we went to a cricket match. So to be able to witness that was really, really special.
Yeah.
But then Bangalore was really neat just in terms of like the technology aspect, being on the forefront. That was neat. Seeing the Taj Mahal, that was really, really neat. We were able to experience quite a bit. It was fun.
Yeah. In 2 weeks, you did quite a lot, and especially if
Yeah.
you went to the stadium where, if India was playing, you probably saw the stadium and how big of a religion it is. It is a religion.
Oh yeah, I got a Mumbai Indian shirt as a souvenir, and yeah, and like we went through the Infosys campus.
Yeah, in Bangalore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Their cricket stadiums are huge, right? It's like kind of like a baseball stadium, but wider and longer, right?
Yeah, and I think it's the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. That's where you would have gone. It is a state-of-the-art facility. It's really nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, anyway, we can probably talk about India the whole show, but in terms of when you started TechArk, what was your sweet spot? What were your product offerings? What did you learn along the way? How was that expanded? But where did you start?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I have a technical background. So my personal, I did a master's in computer science, bachelor's in computer science. So it's very technical to begin with. And so if you look at 2012, when we formally, I was a chief technology officer for a company that I had worked for 10 years. And 2012, I was still employed by them. I was still working full time with them. And I got my green card in February of 2012. And that's when we started the company in 2012. And I remember the first aspects, the first business we lined up, I would go meet people for coffees, and I would meet people. Zach, we were talking about the VR Titans event, 2010 timeframe. This was even before I started the company. I had started immersing myself in this community of Hampton Roads, not knowing how powerful that would be. Like, I just wanted to learn. I was the sponge. I wanted to go away from just the person behind the desk doing the computer work to actually go out and meet and make friends in the community and meet people. So started meeting people, and that led to a lot of different problems that people would run by me. And being technical, I could solve those. I could provide solutions, and I realized, like, I just truly enjoyed it. It was so much fun. The problem solving aspect of it has been being an engineer. I'm an engineer by trade, and that is what I naturally did. And what I started seeing was businesses started engaging me for those services. So even before the company started, I started more in this freelance capacity, right? And then 2012, when we formally started the business, I had a small team in India because I still had my full-time job. So I could not build a separate, I could not work during US time on my own business. So out of necessity, that is what I mentioned earlier in this session, that I started hiring a few people in India, started working with them at nights and weekends, and just started out building software. So that's how the company started in the early years. And 2014, the company I used to work for, they sold the business. I knew they were going to sell the business. And so I would have two options: either go find another job or take a full leap and go into this entrepreneurial journey. And so we chose the latter. That's what we decided to do. And 2014, I remember precisely that when I left the job, that very month, a big software contract landed in my lap. And it was just the sign of the universe, stars aligning. It was a referral from a friend of mine, and it's a company called Liebherr. Liebherr is a big German company. They have a headquarters here in Hampton, Newport News area. And we ended up with a software contract that was just very, very timely. That's how the business started. And then over the years, we've morphed it into, we've constantly evolved with additional services, and we can talk about those as well. But that's how the journey started as a software development company.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You and I, well, Zach too. I mean, it's interesting how, looking back at how everything started, like all of us started this journey, but none of us had the network to dive right in. So it required all of us to so Zach, you started by creating events that attracted people, and that's what attracted me and you too, Pratik, and it's just, you got to get out. You can't lead this stuff from behind the desk. You got to get out there and talk to people. And so we had to expand our network. So it's just really interesting how all of us out of necessity expanded that network.
But I think it's networking done differently, right? I think people network and go to events to meet other people and stuff like that. Where with us, it was like, hey, we're trying to meet a very specific person, and we're really not trying to make money from those people. It's like, I want to learn this craft, so I need to go figure out where those people are and become friends with them. And it's a different way of networking, even though it's still networking. And then here we are 14 years later, it's like, oh, cool. And it's but I think the first meetup we did, we started hosting AIGA events. Then Twitter was becoming a thing. So we did a Twitter meetup, and 7 people showed up, and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And then we did the startup night, which was basically pitch, and that became a big thing, or the ongoing thing. And it's just, they were all kind of just okay, can we meet some people? I want to learn this. Well, who knows it?
The authenticity of those events were really special.
It's a good word for it. Yeah,
I think that's the word, right? It was so different. The authenticity was real. I remember my first event. So this was Zach, the VR Titans days, and I believe you used to operate out of this 22nd Street. There was a space there, an open floor plan.
It's what became Mermaid Winery, and I don't know if Mermaid Winery is still there.
Okay. Yeah, I know they have one other location on Shore Drive, but that's what I remember very, very precisely. Coming into that event, and just the energy in that room was electric. The authenticity of what you mentioned. This was not a room full of business development people trying to sell each other. This was really a group trying to really go learn the craft, like you said. And I think that's where it really connected with me. And I made it a point to try and show up at as many of them. And I know you moved later on to, I believe, Granby, and I still was there. I would come there and met a lot of really neat people, Tim mentioned. I think a lot of it. So the kudos to that, the efforts you all started. It was, and then obviously Hatch happened, and we still showed up there, and then many other things happened after that. Start Norfolk, and but those are things that I think we should try and recreate, Zach. It is absolutely something that that authenticity we should bring back.
And I think that there's a lot. It's interesting. There's a lot of it that still happens. I guess time has just evolved a whole lot in terms of back then, all of us were trying to figure it out together. And now I don't know. It's interesting. But a lot of us too. Also, the point that I'm getting at is like we measure events by the number of people that attend, and that seems to be like the thing to validate if this is something that I should attend to or not. Whereas, but I do think that the pendulum is swinging the other way, where people are asking for smaller, more intimate events where people can just have real conversations and go back to solving specific challenges that people are facing in a more intimate setting. So it's I do I yeah I do see what well, since it is cliffhanger Thursday, I do see that there'll be some more exclusive type events that will be happening in the future.
Well, if you think about it, like just from a Hatch perspective, a dozen years ago, we had, or even Titans, right? Like there was, a couple of meetups a month, which were smaller, intimate things, whether that was drinks downtown, whether that was the AIGA meetup, something for developers, something for, a startup night, something else, right? Those things still exist because you got AI Collective, and I see you got like .NET meetups, and you got Collab meetup. Yeah, I mean, you got all those little things, and then once or twice a year there would be a marquee event, right? And so that became a Start Norfolk. And I think those big things are still important, right? But those little things, the issue with the little things is that there isn't enough of this happening from the other groups. And that's where the big events bring all those people together. And I think that's incredibly important because if they don't communicate with each other, what can you do to give them a platform to do that? And that was one of the genesis of Start Norfolk, where it's like, hey, we're hosting all these things, but none of these people know each other, but we think they should.
Yeah.
And then that turned into, So, I mean, I think littles turn in, it brings the people together for the big ones. So,
yeah. And we're doing that now, honestly, with the AI Collective. You mentioned AI Collective. So I'm very involved with the AI Collective. I am one of the founding members and director of partnerships role. I'm a volunteer, but we've essentially opened the Hampton Roads chapter for the AI Collective. It is a global organization with 100 plus chapters all over the world. And we wanted to put Hampton Roads on the map. So the four of us, there are four founding members. We put the chapter in place, and we are now doing these learning events every 2 weeks. So there are free learning events, just sharing AI knowledge with our community, giving back to the community. We also have lined up some sponsors to support this initiative. And I think over time, it's gaining more and more traction. We have close to 50 events planned. So Zach, going back to those little events, we do have some bigger hackathons planned later in the year. But hopefully, we can continue to recreate that magic. And, the events we are talking about were so inclusive. And that, I believe, is what we're trying to do with this as well, that AI it's no longer just limited to the JavaScript folks or the .NET folks or the AWS folks, right? I mean, you have to be a technical expert for that. Or if you're in the AMA group, you have to be a marketing expert, most likely. With the AI Collective, anybody and everybody is welcome, and they are coming. We have people from all ages, 70-year-olds to 20-year-olds to business owners to would-be business owners to single moms. And it's a beautiful thing to try and bring those people and just teach them AI. And we're all learning together. And, I go there and I learn new things every time I go as well. New tools that I had no idea about, or new problems that people are facing that I had no idea about. And there's an interesting story of how I got involved with the AI Collective Hampton Roads as well, or why we decided to do it. If that comes up, we can talk about it.
I think it just did.
Okay. So you want me to go into it as to why, how? Okay. So this is around August of last year, 2025. Okay. So we've been pushing AI, embracing AI with different challenges, different ways within the TechArk company. And in August of 2025, we launched a challenge within our company. And this challenge would be that, so there was a town hall type of meeting, 120 plus people from our team were in this virtual meeting. And we opened this challenge saying 3 weeks in 3 weeks, every single one of us will learn a new AI tool, and we will record a video, and that video will be shared with me. And I was actually going to go away on a vacation for 3 weeks. When I came back, 120 plus videos showed up, and we went through those videos. We learned. I actually shared this approach on LinkedIn the other day to help other leaders try and get buy-in from their employees, right? But when we were launching this challenge, there were a few employees that openly raised some concerns, right? One of them being, I remember there were like two specific questions that were asked, right? Number one, if we don't do this challenge, will we get replaced? Or if we embrace AI, is this to replace people, right? And number two was, what will TechArk do? Yes, we are all about embracing AI, but what can TechArk do for the societal concerns around AI, right? What do we do in terms of the energy consumption that it has, or the various other problems that we hear about around the job losses or the security? So when these questions came up, my first answer during the meeting was that my first reaction was, look, we are, the challenges around the biases or the job losses or the environment or the global warming, these are very big problems, global problems, that I was almost questioning my team member that how do you expect TechArk to play a role, or me to play a role in that? Like, what can I do? I'm too small for that. So I agreed with that person that those concerns and questions are real, but I didn't know how to actually make an impact towards that. And again, universe has its way of aligning things. As that happened, I think a week or two later, I came across this opportunity to play a role in the AI collective Hampton Roads, which the AI collective's big thing is the human side of AI, making sure the human element is what's talked about. And we would have a podium to actually have at least those conversations around the security, the biases, the job losses, have those discussions in the Hampton Roads community, and at least make a difference for the Hampton Roads community. So that's what I saw an opportunity for, and that's where I decided to commit my own time as a volunteer. And we opened this chapter for AI Collective Hampton Roads. And with my connections and business connections I've built over the years, I felt it would be the right place for me to come in would be the director of partnerships role. So that's what the role I've taken. And so since then, just in 4 months or 5 months of doing it, my team can now see, first of all, that we are not just again talking, we are executing. We are running these free events for the community as a whole. We have 30, 40 people that show up at these events, and it's growing. And we are hopefully over time, we held a town hall a couple of months ago at the NSU campus, and we had 4 questions, and in 2 hours, like we could not just, we had to cut people short. It was so engaging. People were so engaged with the points they were raising, and we had to kind of move. We could have just kept one question and spent the entire 2 hours that day. So I'm looking forward to a lot more of those conversations, getting more businesses involved with this, and hopefully again continue to prepare AI for this AI disruption. That's we will all go through this together.
One of the things that's interesting is if you poll Americans, a majority view AI as negative. If you poll the Chinese, it's very opposite, that a majority view AI as a positive and they're optimistic. What is the overall sense in India in terms of AI, especially being the most populous country in the world?
Great question. And obviously, this is one opinion, I will say. I'm sure there are many other opinions that may vary from this, but see, it's a developing country. It has done extremely well in the last few decades, and I don't know. So Tim, you may be aware, like a few years ago, they actually put out So India had the largest number of young citizens, right? So the demographics, a lot of younger crowd, a lot of younger demographics. It is the largest in the world. At least it was like 2 or 3 years ago. So the narrative I can tell you is a lot. It is positive. Most of them. So it is perceived as that there is an opportunity here to leverage AI, um, and I think the country is pro AI from my opinion, at least in this case. It would be perceived as a positive. Um, because there are opportunities along with, yes, the technologies have a way, any technology, even from the cotton revolution that happened, right? There's the slavery that followed, right? So there is always, the technology has its way of, there are problems, but there is always a lot more opportunity that comes out on these things. And so I believe the country, I wasn't aware that US, the perception is, like you said with the poll, that um, I wasn't aware of that, but I can tell you that India, now obviously I don't live there. I just know from the things that I read and experience when I go there. It's mostly a positive sentiment there.
I would imagine it's because Americans are worried about losing their jobs.
Yeah, and like that's kind of like the irony behind AI. Really, is whether if you realize it or not, it's just like, hey, you're working so hard and embracing AI and potentially working yourself out of a job, and just that the unknown behind that is really really interesting.
Yeah,
sure.
And see, one thing you have to think about this when you mentioned, Zach, right? Like a lot of the Indian economy, like IT plays a very big role now. The offshore work, like, so there are the number of engineers that come out every year, the graduates, right? So there will be that job. Same question will be asked in India too. It's not just that Americans are fearful. It will apply to every country, I believe, as AI makes its rounds in India. I think especially, I know that the emphasis of the world, these big companies, they a lot of what they've built has been on the human capital, right? Because they can provide resources at a cheaper cost. All that is going to get disrupted. It absolutely will. When you have agents doing this, AI agents, and that's what you're starting to see with so all of that will have to evolve as well. These giants that have built these offshore models, and the BPO and the KPO and all of these phone calls that go out, like when you have AI agents that can answer it, um, all of that will get disrupted, and all of these companies will be forced to reimagine, just like TechArk has had to. I mean, we are very small, obviously, compared to these giants, but the consultings, like we look at, all of these, I think it will have a big impact across every industry, and they will have to evolve from it.
It might be easier for you to do this because you're in technology, but as a leader, as the CEO of a company, embracing something that is so unknown, how do you handle that? How do you integrate it into what you're doing? How do you understand that, like, this is a risk, and is this risk different than any, like, just hiring from a perspective? Do you treat it like that? Because it's such an odd thing where I feel like Tim and I, every week, we record this show every week, and every week we could be talking about this hot new thing that's completely changing the game. Yeah. But when you think about it, like we're not lying about that. Like, it literally is taking over the game. And so, like, how do you decide what to integrate, how to integrate, risk, reward, things like that as a business owner? Because it's such an important thing. And I think a lot of business owners they might be coming over, the hill, thinking about doing it, and they just, they need some help figuring out what to do. So what are your just thoughts about kind of integration of the robots?
Yeah, I will actually, this is a great question, actually. See, I think it depends on the leader's personality, I would say, first of all, right? Some leaders will take a very bold move, and they have a conviction, and they will just go at it. Some will take almost like a wait and see approach. And a lot of times I feel, again, that may not be the right approach, especially when it comes to technology and marketing, because it is evolving so quickly. The approach I have taken, I would say, is a blended approach. Being, again, that engineer at heart, I try to look at many different options. So what we first do as a company is be vulnerable, right? Be open about things we don't know. That's the first place you have to start, what you don't know, right? Because the risks that you're talking about, if you just the fear of the unknown, all of that is real, right? It's not like you have all the answers. So what you do is you say, look, I don't know all the answers. You go out, you meet people, you read things. I read a lot, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, I meet a lot of people, and I'm not afraid of asking questions. You ask those questions, you listen intently. You don't take everything that you're given because they're coming with their viewpoints. This is where I sit down. It takes me a time to process it. It takes some time to create a game plan. And that is what I call strategy, right? So if you look at, I told you earlier on in this conversation that we started as a software development company. And a few years into it, my wife and I, we would have these conversations at the breakfast table. And one day she was like, you should look at this website business because it is much more scalable. And it is not something that you need to put your own time into. And I listened to a lot of other people, and as that made sense, and that is why I don't call myself the founder of TechArk. A lot of other people, my wife, others, they've helped towards the journey. So I cannot be the only one taking that credit. I'm the CEO, yes, but I've learned from a lot of people. And we built our first website in, I think, 2015 or 16 years, 2015 timeframe, I think. And now we have hundreds of websites. It would not have happened if we were not being vulnerable, if we were not ready to try new things. But the strategy evolved from these conversations that we had. We saw the opportunity. We started testing. And there's a book I read, Good to Great. In that book, there's an analogy, that example that talks about that you fire bullets. You don't fire the cannonball. If you only have one cannonball, you don't fire the cannonball. Because if you lose that, if you don't hit the target at the enemy ship, you're toast at that point. So you fire these bullets and you see what hits, and then you fire the cannonball. And that resonated with me so very much that we try to apply that to our business constantly. So we started building websites. Websites became a big thing for us. We have hundreds of websites we build, we maintain, we still do. And then around 2017, 2018 timeframe, we decided to say, okay, now all these websites you're building, our customers would come and say, okay, you built my website, you know the story. How can you help tell the story? So the digital marketing services grew. I am not a marketer by trade, but I started hiring people who are much smarter and sharper than me. But the strategy, the credit around that, I will say we listened, we asked the questions, and we said, this is an area that we feel is going to continue to grow. We can make an impact. We can do a great job. We hired those people around that. And the luck also plays a role. 2020, the pandemic happened. And the digital solutions just took off. And since then, every single year, we've been on the Inc. 5000 as one of the fastest growing private companies in the US, consecutively, every single year. So that we were at the right time with the right decision. We went from one person in our digital marketing team to a team of over 10 people in 1 year. We made that investment because we had the conviction that the strategy is right. And the same thing, we've come a full circle, guys. Like, we went away from, we were still doing software all these years, but it was not at the forefront because we intentionally went after the strategic views of building up the website in the digital marketing business. And about 3 years ago, as the AI advent happened, 2022, we know ChatGPT came out. That was the time. In 2023, we some of the leaders in the company, we sat down and we said, okay, this is our time. We want to position ourselves. First, we will embrace it internally. So for the last 3 years, we've been embracing AI internally. We've launched challenges to train our teams. We have launched challenges to get buy-in from our teams. We've built many different things, which we have now packaged into what we're calling an AI Forward program. So AI Forward was just launched in January, just last month. But 120 plus people, from one copywriter to 120 plus people who are AI enabled now within the business, who are pushing that needle forward. And this is not the first time. I mean to say, like, every few years we look at this business and the core business still stays intact, but we fire these bullets and we then fire the cannonball. And I think the AI Forward is our next cannonball. And in a few years from now, it may be the next innovation journey. But all of these, they keep solidifying the business further, keep growing. And Zach and Tim, you've been around here, you know how hard it is to build this business that we've built. It is not easy. Most give up, or they go up to 5 or 10 people. And I'm not saying the number of people is the measure here, but the credibility we have achieved with that, the businesses we have served, the impact we have made in the community, the business has done well, and I think it has done well for the community as well. So I know, long answer, but I believe over time it has become our DNA to do this, and the teams are kind of expecting it. And every time we go in, we try to be vulnerable with our own teams as well. There will be times, and there have been times, where we do not succeed, and that's also okay, because it was a bullet we fired, and we can recover from that.
Well, one thing that is certain in terms of the most recent cannonball with AI is that we cannot unring that bell. That it is not going away.
Yes.
And we have to continue forward. Circle backing around on the polling. So the percentage of people who believe that AI offers more benefits than drawbacks, the United States is 39% think that it's going to be more beneficial. As I mentioned, China, 83%.
Wow.
And India, you were right, Pratik, 62%, but some surveys are as high as 75%.
Wow.
Of positivity?
Of positivity, yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Even if the states put guardrails on AI, that's a bad idea, because in other states or the other countries are going to then just crush us.
So that's why we have
right?
to.
The genie's out of the bottle for that reason, right?
You got to do it.
You can't.
Yeah.
And I think that we
out of the bottle.
But it's just little things like right now. I think that like making sure that data centers are held accountable for utility costs. Like if they want to put in a data center, they should be responsible for footing the bill for power, because it's really easy. Well, I think that there's rumor out there that and residents are concerned that their power bill is going to go up because we don't have the supply to meet the demand, which is why like Microsoft and Google are exploring their own, they're putting their own power plants in place to supply the power to meet the needs of the data center. So we need to squash those types of things to say, hey, we have to win this AI race, and you're not going to be affected by it from a power standpoint, as one example.
And now those places, the San Francisco 49ers cannot also move their stadium next to them if they build power plant, because then that will also cause issues with their injuries still, I would assume. Right, Tim?
Yeah, the electromagnetic, whatever the rumor is.
The football team in San Francisco, Pratik, they're right next to this facility, and they think that the reason why one of the reasons why they keep getting injured is because of the
electromagnetism. Yeah.
Whatever. Who knows? It's probably the turf, would be my guess.
Right.
But whatever.
Did not know that. So yeah, I think the data center race is not going to stop anytime soon. Right?
No.
They're now talking about data centers in space, so it's not stopping the energy. I think the energy consumption, it is still in single digits with the data centers, but it's going to continue to grow, and it will. I think the number, I didn't realize it will be that high, right? So the population, all of us, we have to look at and see. I believe again there will be a whole slew of new jobs that will come out.
Right.
Just what we didn't know with what the cloud technology or the mobile or the internet would do, right? You're at this really big revolution that, my kids, my son is going to, he's a junior and he's going to go to college, and 6 years later when he comes out, like it's hard to actually imagine like what sort of the computer science, the computer programming job that I got after graduating, he's not getting that job.
Right.
Like that job is no longer going to be around.
I don't even know if we'll be able to recognize the world in 6 years.
Truly, that's a long time frame in this world for sure.
Especially in technology sense. That's should be decades.
I think my latest
those hoverboards though in 6 years. Do you think we'll do that? Because I feel like we should. Marty McFly and those
Marty
hoverboards.
McFly.
Come on.
I think the next thing you will see is the AI. So you saw the Anthropic's announcement this week around legal, the industry that they're going after, the plugin they released. And this is just the beginning. I think what you will see is AI, almost like the same companies that are building it, does it actually start eating it up from the inside? Just based on that's a scary thing, but it will produce, I think, possibly a deflationary cycle.
Yeah.
All of that has to be seen.
Yeah, it is. It is so. It's wild to really think about, just in terms of like, well, just in the sense of like how you can phrase different prompts to trick the system. I mean, in the sense of like that's the thing that's really it's and they think about things in ways that we can't even begin to think about. It's very interesting. We live in exciting times.
Absolutely. It's unfolding in front of our eyes.
What's something we haven't talked about that you want to talk about?
I mean, I think we covered the journey, and I think the entrepreneurs out there, I would say, like, that's where I began this journey. Being an engineer, this is not something that I was formally trained for, but I learned a lot. I still continue to learn and still continue to position the business to continue to be relevant in the next age. And I would say that people who are tuning in, who are listening in, one of the goals really is, go out, go get involved, be it the whatever community events that speak to you, get involved. These connections, I mean, Zach, I've known you for 16, 17 years now, right? I know, like, we may not talk in a full year, but I can still pick up the phone and tell you and ask you for some favor, and you will do it, or I will do the same for you, and Tim, the same thing. I mean, I remember all these years ago, Dawn from my team and I, we were on the Start Wheels board, that beginning of what we did, and Dawn actually was with a different employer then. Yep. I ended up actually over time hiring him, and seeing what Start Wheel and what you've done to Start Wheel to now innovate Hampton Roads. And so I would say, like, just share people, like, things get built in the long run, right? But the effort has to be real, the execution has to be real. You go out, you meet people, learn, and as you learn, you create your game plan and execute, fire those bullets. Some may miss the mark, it's okay, keep trying. I've had few years where we were trying to hire some in the sales team, like trying to hire some sales team members, and it just wouldn't work. It took me 3 attempts and 3 years to get that right. And once that clicked, it has become a really phenomenal growth engine for us. And so I would say, that's one area. And then as we wrap up I will say the business community in general, as a whole, in the Hampton Roads and beyond, like, our goal is to keep growing this outside, and we already have clients across the country. So TechArk is positioned to continue to offer really amazing digital marketing services, as well as these AI and automation technology solutions. We have hundreds of businesses in Hampton Roads, and we want to continue to learn from other businesses. So if anybody's listening to this and would like to collaborate further and talk about what to do together, certainly open for those conversations.
Well, one question that we close out every show with: you have family that is coming to India, or coming from India to Hampton Roads, and if there is like, hey, we want you to taste a piece of Hampton Roads and remember it by, is there a food of the region or a restaurant that you would take them to that perfectly represents Hampton Roads?
Hampton Roads, okay. So first of all, I will preface this by saying I am a vegetarian, so I have my selection, my palate is limited on that front, Tim. But I would say, like, our family's favorite is, if you were to look at an Indo-Nepalese restaurant, it's called Ago, AAGO, Ago in Newport News. We will actually drive up to that for special occasions. But looking at Hampton Roads specifically, there are so many options. But we love this little restaurant here called Noodle Man. I don't know if you've seen this. Noodle Man is in the Haygood area of Virginia Beach. You will see people. They're actually, they prepare fresh noodles right in front of you. They're making those noodles right in front of you, and it's a small restaurant, but it is delicious. And noodle, I'll leave that with Hampton Roads. It may not be specifically American food that I just pointed, but it is such a a blend of all these cultures here, right? We have all these people that come, and I think I would say, I don't know if Noodleman has been pointed out earlier, but there you go. I would say you will not be disappointed. They have, I think, 2 locations in Hampton Roads.
Wow.
You will not be disappointed.
And one thing that is also not the first is at the Indian restaurant Newport News. That always surfaces as like the best place to go.
It is really good. Yeah. Just don't ask for spicy if you cannot handle spicy. Their spicy is spicy, so don't do that.
Noted. Pratik, it's been great. We appreciate your time. Thanks for giving us a little bit of your day to share so much wisdom. Continued success, and looking forward to more conversations in the future.
Thank you, guys. And you are, again, both of you are gems. We called you out on our post the other day, I think a few months ago, and you guys the feeling is mutual. Again, you are doing some phenomenal things for the community, entrepreneurial community as a whole, innovation, and gratitude to what you do, and kudos to you all. And thank you for thinking of me.
Awesome. Thank you, Pratik.